In the 2023-24 season, Real Madrid won the Champions League without losing a single match. From all 15 titles, this was the first time ever they won without any defeats. But it was far from being anything easy.
It was missed by the goalkeeper and he's headed in by Ostergaard. Foden, a little bit of time. Oh, what a shot. Chance for De Bruyne! Oh, what a goal! And Bayern Munich take the lead.
So in this video, we're gonna see the entire history of how Real Madrid won the greatest club title unbeaten, from the group stage all the way to the grand final. And the first opponent was Union Berlin.
They will want it back in their trophy cabinet, I'm sure, at the end of this current season.
That game was Bellingham's Champions League debut with Madrid. So playing at the Bernabeu, they went all in and dominated, with over 70% ball possession and more than 30 shots, but the ball just didn't wanna go in. The game was heading towards a bad draw for Madrid, until in 90+4, the new signing showed up.
It's open now for Valverde. Double block and Bellingham's there.
Real Madrid won the first match. But besides Union Berlin, in this group there was also Napoli and Braga from Portugal. The toughest there would be Napoli, that was the current Italian champions. And in the second group stage match, Madrid went to face them in Italy. Just so you know, playing at home in the Champions League, Napoli was unbeaten for 14 games and started with a 1-0 lead. But then...
But glaring back at him, but here's Bellingham from the defensive error, and he sets up here Vini Junior. Come on! And still goes. And still goes. Oh, that is absolutely magnificent!
With two amazing goals, Real Madrid turned the game around. But in the second half, Napoli equalized. It seemed like it would end in a draw. But Valverde showed up.
Met in the air by Leo Ostergaard. And hit by Valverde, it's an absolute bullet!
Actually, it was an own goal. The ball bounced off the keeper and went in. Real Madrid won by 3-2. Now the third match was against Braga in Portugal, but with a much deadlier attack, Madrid won with goals from Rodrygo and Bellingham. Bellingham was really having an amazing performance, scoring in 3 consecutive matches. Then, in the next game, Madrid defeated Braga by 3-0 and secured a spot in the round of 16.
Uma noite perfeita de Champions, Bernabéu, gol, assistência, vitória, classificação, perfeita.
Now, with a qualification secured, Madrid could set another accomplishment. Finished the group stage with 6 wins in 6 matches. Just so you know, the last time they managed to win all group stage matches was in 2014. Not even a 3-time champion team did it. Now they had a chance to do it again for the first time in 8 years. Before that, they needed a win against Napoli and Union Berlin. Napoli wanted revenge for their last defeat. So much so that at the Bernabeu, the game started in a worst possible way, with the Italians scoring the opener. But with goals from Rodrygo, Bellingham, Nico Paz and Joselu, Madrid managed to turn it around to 4-2, a huge victory. Now if they just won the last match, they would go to the knockout stage with a 100% win record. But the game was against Union Berlin in Germany, a very tough match. So much so that, right at the beginning, Kepa had to make a great save, until Union Berlin committed a penalty. But the star Luka Modric missed it. And while they were still showing the replay,
And now Unionen!
1-0 for the home team. And Madrid went into the second half losing. And it didn't look it was gonna change, because the German keeper was saving everything. Until Joselu showed up.
Neatly done. And the cross to Joselu. Fran Garcia. Joselu's there again. And he scored twice.
2-1 and the 100% win record was within reach. But in the 85th minute, Union Berlin equalized. That was disappointing, but it was not over yet.
And now taken by Dani Ceballos. Dani Ceballos!
3-2, and for the first time since the 2014-15 season, Real Madrid won all group stage matches. Joselu was named the man of the match, but little did he know it wouldn't be the only time he would be decisive. So after this perfect group stage, there was the round of 16 draw. Real Madrid was drawn against a tough team, RB Leipzig. The last time Madrid played against Leipzig, they lost, so it wouldn't be a piece of cake. And the Germans showed they weren't there to mess around.
Comes out to Schlager and headed in. Flag is up, it looked offside.
The referee disallowed it, and Lunin had to make other saves. Leipzig was playing better and Madrid couldn't score, so we went into the second half in a tie. On top of that, Bellingham was injured, so he was replaced by Brahim Diaz. But what no one imagined was that the decisive player would be him.
It's a lovely turn from Brahim Diaz, and he's still going. Oh, boy, is he still going.
With a great goal, Real Madrid scored the opener. And a standout player was Lunin, who defended every shot. So after 9 saves, Leipzig could not get past him and Madrid won the first leg. With that, Lunin secured his spot in the starting 11. But if this match was tough, in Santiago Bernabeu it was even tougher.
Can he finish? It's a good save by Lunin.
He was offside, but Leipzig kept going forward. The problem was the lack of accuracy. At any moment, Leipzig could score. But in the 64th minute, Vini Junior showed up.
Rodrygo to the right, still Bellingham. It's Vinicius Junior! It's a fantastic goal!
Vini Junior scored the opener to extend the lead. But 3 minutes later, Leipzig responded. They scored, and now they just needed one more to tie the match. So they kept attacking, but Madrid's defense was solid and the referee blew the final whistle.
Real Madrid have done it.
By just 2-1 on aggregate, Real Madrid qualified for the quarterfinals. That was tough. And if you're enjoying it so far, subscribe so you don't miss the next videos. Alright, Real Madrid was in the quarterfinals and the matches would be decided by a draw. There was 7 potential opponents. The most difficult that nobody wanted to face was of course Manchester City, the reigning champions. But when the draw finally happened,
Manchester City.
Real Madrid against Man City. The two favorites were gonna face each other. Man City was the reigning treble champions. Also in the previous season, Real Madrid was humiliated by 4-0 at Etihad Stadium. It was literally the most difficult opponent possible. And at the Bernabeu, it started in the worst possible way for Madrid.
Bernardo Silva always caught Lunin out. An incredible start.
They scored the opener in less than 2 minutes, and Haaland almost scored another one. Literally a nightmare for Madrid, but soon they managed to respond.
Camavinga shimmies away from Grealish, big deflection, Real Madrid level!
And when they were still celebrating the equalizer,
It is every bit of that, here's Vinicius Junior bearing down. That one's beaten Ortega, it's Rodrygo to score another!
with 2 goals in 2 minutes, Real Madrid turned the game around. 3 goals in 15 minutes. But after that, both teams calmed down a bit. Madrid just needed to hold the score to have a very important advantage for the second leg. But when the second half arrived,
Stones, Foden, a little bit of time, oh what a shot, what a goal! Guardiola,
Real Madrid was now losing at home. But that only lasted for 8 minutes.
Scurrying away from defenders. Vinicius Junior, oh what a shot, what a goal that is!
It was impossible to save. 3-3. It was a true battle. And after a match with 6 goals, Real Madrid would now go to Etihad Stadium with nothing yet decided. To give you an idea, Man City's last home defeat in the Champions League was in 2018. And in all competitions, they were undefeated at home for 17 months in a row. But when the match started,
Valverde, here's Vinicius Junior. And he squeezed it across and Ederson has kept out the first but not the second.
1-0 for Madrid. In just 11 minutes, Rodrygo put them ahead. Now it was Man City who had to push forward. And that's what they did.
With the help of Camavinga, stopped it from going to Haaland, who will go again now. And it bounces off Bernardo Silva and goes behind.
It was shot after shot and Madrid held on. But at the 75th minute,
Trying to burst past Valverde, came up Rudiger, and De Bruyne scores!
with 15 minutes left, Man City scored the equalizer. And they had everything to turn it around. But De Bruyne missed on the best chance. So it went to extra time, they continued without scoring, and the match went to penalties. After 4 goals for each side, everything would be decided on penalties. Lunin against Ederson. This was the first time Real Madrid was going for a penalty shootout in the Champions League in 8 years. The last one was in the 2016 final, 8 years earlier. and for them it started in the worst possible way.
He's first up to start the drama, to start the scoring. And Modric's effort saved by Ederson.
If the experienced Modric missed it, how would the others score? So it was time for Bernardo Silva to extend the lead.
Pressure on the Portuguese, and he's made a real mess of that.
Lunin saved, then Bellingham scored. Now it was Kovacic's turn.
Up comes Kovacic, and it's saved by Lunin.
Lunin saved again, and Lucas Vazquez scored. Now Madrid had the advantage and Nacho scored as well. The fatal qualification was now in Rodrygo's feet.
Rudiger to send Real Madrid through to the semis. He's done it!
By 4-3 on penalties, Real Madrid eliminated Manchester City and qualified for the semi-final.
Real Madrid would not let their competition slip away that easily.
But now, after this huge challenge, the next opponent would be the 6th-time Champions League winners, Bayern Munich.
For two of the greatest club sides on the planet, superstars in both teams. What a semi-final, Steve, this promises to be.
Bayern was literally the second team with the most Champions League semi-finals in history, only behind Madrid themselves. The two biggest of the continent were gonna fight each other for a place in the grand final, with the first leg in Germany.
As Bayern try and build the first attack, that's beautifully played, Sané!
In 40 seconds, Bayern almost scored the opener, already giving a hint of what the match would look like. But then Toni Kroos did a magical pass.
It's a really good run, it's a great ball, and it's 1-0. Vinicius Junior!
An amazing pass to put Vini Junior in front of Neuer. It was the first assist Toni Kroos gave against his former club. Then the match went into the second half like that, and Toni Kroos again made Neuer work. But then Sané decided to do it on his own. He dribbled and sent a rocket to the back of the net. No chance for the keeper. 1-1. Now Bayern got even more confidence to push forward. So much that Musiala suffered a penalty.
2-1. Harry Kane!
Bayern was now winning, but Madrid still had Vini Junior.
Oh, nicely done. Now is that a penalty? It is. Here he comes. 2-2. Vinicius Junior.
2-2. A huge draw at the Allianz Arena. So they went to the Santiago Bernabéu to decide the Champions League finalist.
A game between two of the biggest clubs in the world. Clubs desperate to reach another Champions League final.
This time playing in front of their own fans, Real Madrid started attacking all they could. But Neuer was killing it. Literally a wall, not letting anything pass. And in the second half, it continued. Rodrygo took a powerful free kick that Neuer saved, and right after, Vini Junior made an amazing individual play. But Neuer saved again. It seemed impossible to get past Neuer, and Madrid didn't even imagine, but it was gonna get much worse.
With time to look up, Musiala arriving. Sané! Oh, it's brilliant!
Goal for Bayern. Davies put the Germans ahead. 3-2. The worst that could happen. Either Madrid scored or they were eliminated. There were just over 20 minutes left. Then right after, they responded scoring with Nacho, but it was disallowed because of a foul. Bayern is still ahead. So Ancelotti made substitutions, one of them in the 80th minute, when he took Valverde out to bring on Joselu, a guy that was on loan from Espanyol. Madrid was getting closer and closer to the elimination. The final was being Bayern against Dortmund, until they got to the 88th minute.
Vinicius Junior, Mendy overlapping, that's comfortable. Oh, Neuer dropped it, and Joselu scores!
Neuer made a mistake and Joselu tied the match. Nobody imagined that the saving goal would come from him. Then when everyone was still celebrating,
Rudiger! It's 2-1, it's offside!
the flag was raised. But when VAR reviewed it,
Real Madrid have turned it around! Joselu with 2 goals!
Real Madrid are into another Champions League final. This remarkable club.
Joselu, a 34-year-old who came on loan from Espanyol, became a hero. For the 18th time, Real Madrid was in the Champions League final. But for the first time in history, they had a chance of winning the title undefeated. Never in history had Real Madrid reached the Champions League final without losing a single game. They always had at least one defeat. So they went to the final in London.
Vamos a Londres.
Now there was only one opponent between Real Madrid and their unbeaten Champions League campaign, Borussia Dortmund. The Germans had finished first in the group with PSG, Milan and Newcastle, eliminated PSV in the round of 16, Atletico Madrid in the quarterfinals, PSG in the semifinals, and now they were in their third Champions League final ever. It was gonna be a very tough match, but Ancelotti was prepared. He was heading to his 6th Champions League final. Real Madrid was the clear favorite, but as soon as the game started, things seemed differently.
And here's Adeyemi getting in behind, and this is a glorious chance, and he's around Courtois. The angle against him, and Carvajal got over. Madsen's won it back again. Fulkrug hits the post!
Adeyemi missed a clear chance, one you cannot miss. And right after, Fulkrug hit the post. In the end, he was offside, but Dortmund showed they were there to win. And Adeyemi had another chance, but Courtois saved it. Dortmund fans were believing in their title. In the first half, it was 8 shots against 2. Dortmund came very close to scoring. Even so, the game went into halftime 0-0. But when Madrid came back for the second half, they were totally transformed. Toni Kroos took a dangerous free kick, and after that, Carvajal showed up.
Here goes the corner, flicked over the bar.
A dangerous header. Madrid began a push forward, and Dortmund also had some chances. Anyone could score the opener. Then Carvajal tried to go for a header again.
Corner taken by Kroos and flicked on by Carvajal!
Carvajal headed into the back of the net and scored the opener. 1-0. Now, with a goal in advantage, all the pressure shifted to Dortmund. And this pressure led them to miss a pass.
Given away by Madsen. Bellingham. Here's Vinicius Junior. Great chance! 2-0, and the young man who was raised in the favelas of Rio de Janeiro scores for the second time in a Champions League final in the white of Real Madrid.
With a goal from Vinicius to seal the deal and even a disallowed goal from Dortmund at the end, the match finished 2-0.
Nacho raises the Champions League trophy in the air. The Kings are back on the throne. Real Madrid, European champions.